Alright, welcome back, guys. So, been a little bit of a hiatus yet again. That seems to be our shtick at this point. But we ended up playing the alpha for the Champion of the Hill game mode in the new Call of Duty Vanguard that's coming out. It wasn't exactly a full multiplayer reveal, but it's a reveal for one of the new featured game modes in that game. And it was actually really cool. Some elements of some other game modes from older Call of Duties, which we'll kind of get into how it works here in a second. We just figured we would do a little gameplay video of us playing and then kind of tell you our thoughts about the game, what we would like to see changed or what we think is good about it, all that kind of stuff. Corey, what did you think of the game? What's your first impression of it?
My first impression is the game mode seems fun, right? It feels different. It gives you kind of like that if you played any other alphas for like say Modern Warfare or anything like that. You did like the 2v2 kind of battle. But the game does to me feel fun for a bit. Obviously there's gonna be other game modes, but for this game mode itself, this wouldn't be a game mode I think I could go do a bunch. I think it'd be a fun one. Let's just kill some time, let's just do a quick one of these. Might kill 20 minutes or so like that. Which is roughly about how long they take. And I think after a few of those, it might get old.
If they have like a ranked play system for this game as well, which I'm assuming they would, because that's what everybody's biggest complaint is every year when a Call of Duty comes out. There's no ranked system right off the bat. But if they had a ranked and unranked for that game, I feel like you're going to get people who are wanting to do that ranked play for that game mode a lot, because it is like a mini tournament sort of thing. It has that aspect of like the 2v2 or 3v3 gunfight from Modern Warfare. It's also got a little bit of a Counter-Strike thing going on where there's certain rounds where you could buy new guns, score streaks, extra armor, tactical lethal equipment, perks. Like you can spend money depending on how well you do. And then eventually it's kind of like a round robin or elimination sort of tournament. Everybody has a certain amount of lives, or every team does. And then once your team loses all your lives, you're out of the tournament. So there's it's kind of like a Frankenstein of a couple different game modes from the past almost. Definitely an interesting concept. That's kind of my favorite thing with a new Call of Duty when it comes out, is like the new game modes that they come up with. I think Control is a really good example of an amazing game mode that it is infuriating at times if you have a bad team, like if you're playing pubs by yourself and just trying to get a good team, because it's very teamwork oriented. But that game mode is so fun when you have a full party of people, and it was a really good game mode. So I think this one, just me, you, and Drew playing it the other night, I think there were some things that were infuriating, as with every Call of Duty, but that's because we haven't had enough time to play it and understand it really yet. We only played it for maybe 5 or 6 hours at the most.
Yeah,
maybe
I think
not
around
even
that.
So we'll have to see what happens when multiplayer comes out and get a little bit of a better feel for it. But just right off the bat, the graphics look amazing compared to what we got in Cold War, because it's on the Modern Warfare engine, so it looks really good in game. It's Cold War looks very. You can just tell there's such a huge difference, even though we're going back in time even further. It looks newer and better than Cold War. And I think that's a good start, first of all. I do like the World War II aesthetic. I've heard a lot of complaints like, why are we going back in time even further? Again, I think there's a lot of people out there that their main gripe with it is that World War II games tend to be very dark, not very much color variation in the maps, not very bright. It's usually like dark, depressing, not very vibrant in maps. I think with this one, I think they're gonna try to change that. I think there's gonna be a lot of like broad daylight, super sunny maps, brighter colors, hopefully, if we're in some of the European maps. I think there's potential here. We won't know until they do the multiplayer reveal, obviously.
I think that's its issue. Like the last one to come out in this was World War II, which was definitely a letdown. But say the one I remember quite well was World at War. Which I loved. I thought the multiplayer maps were fun, right? It still had a dark, gritty feel to it, but that was back in an era where I was still in love with Call of Duty, to where they made maps fun. It feels like now, right, that it almost takes only a competitive outlook, where it takes Call of Duty and the people that are making it, maps, guns, whatever, makes a strict competitive style layout instead of a fun layout that can also be competitive. I do know that when they're making maps, like, oh yeah, man, I'm ready for the Call of Duty leagues to come back, so we'll make these 3-4 lane maps. They'll be damn near similar, have a couple elevation differences, But that's what always bugged me. Like when you go back to like say Black Ops 1 or like even some of those DLC maps that were just like fun and creative, like Zoo. You had the one that was a take on like a World at War map, the cliffside, I mean like a golf course kind of thing, like a hotel, right? Just make some fun maps, make it fun. Because this aesthetic I like. I think it can be done well, and I think that's why they're doing it, because they're like, well, we kind of fucked up World War II. People weren't digging it, so maybe let's try this out. I like the old weapons, make it simple. Weapons like that, make them simple, do a whole change with that. If you want to go back, that's cool. But you really got to cater to both the competitive play, and you got to cater to the people that are still in love with that old nostalgic, just fun, kick back, have a drink, play a game with some buddies, and not have to sweat your ass off the entire game.
Another thing I think is going to be good about this game, and really the last couple of Call of Duty games, I think, have had really good campaigns. There was like a time there for a little bit where the campaigns got really just not very good. Got kind of wacky with the futuristic ones, especially. I didn't enjoy those, but the old Call of Duty games and even the ones in the past couple of years have had amazing campaigns. And I'm excited to see with this one. Just from the campaign gameplay that I saw, there was a trailer, about a 10-minute gameplay for that. It looks really good. A lot of new mechanics. I can't wait to get into that too. So that'll be an exciting thing. That I usually take the first week of the game to just do that. I don't go straight to multiplayer most of the time. So that'll be good as well. The thing that I like about the World War II aesthetic, I like that time period of history for some reason. I think it's because of the guns. Everything is just so much simpler. There's not all this crazy futuristic high tech. Now, granted, there were red dot sights on the guns in this game. That was not a thing back then, but you can warp reality a little bit to kind of fit the Call of Duty universe.
If that's the most they do, cool.
Yeah. So I don't mind that so much at all. But the guns are really cool. There's just not super crazy attachments you can throw on them. The recoil in this game, they up the recoil for pretty much every gun. I love it because every game in the past couple of years, every gun has just been a laser beam. And it doesn't matter what gun it is, you can put so many attachments on it that you can just make it shoot straight and not move. Now, really, recoil control and like being good with your aim is going to actually matter a little bit more. A couple of things that I would like to see changed from the alpha that I've seen so far. Again, we don't know how multiplayer is going to go really, so it's kind of hard to tell at this point. But with the gunplay specifically, there will be attachments that fix this, but I think some of the guns, the muzzle flash is crazy bright. I don't know if you noticed that on some of them.
Yeah.
And if the recoil's bad enough and you got that muzzle flash going on, it's like impossible to see people sometimes. So I'm sure there's attachments that are going to kind of like muffle that muzzle flash a little bit. So that's not a huge worry. My big worry is that some of the guns, when you upgrade them in this game mode, they get incendiary rounds. And I just think incendiary rounds, even though they are a real thing, they do not have a place in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Maybe in game modes where you can buy armor, like this one, they're sort of okay because you have extra health at that point. But if they're in normal game modes, like just regular pub multiplayer, you can get incendiary shells on a gun. Just kill someone, like if they kill you, but you hit them with a couple of those incendiary shells and get them weak enough, they'll die to the burn damage. And that's just annoying. That was a big deal with World War II as well. It's been in the last couple of games too. There's been certain shotguns that get it, and usually that's all it is they'll give it to you for a shotgun, which is a little better because then you can just kind of keep your distance from them sometimes. But World War II, a lot of the maps were really small and had a lot of corridors and like corners that people could run around and zigzag through with these shotguns and then just blast you with incendiary shells. So that was a really big, huge problem with World War II. But now you can get it on the STG, which is an AR, and just have incendiary shells or rounds rather. And I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's giving noob, campy, like just troll people too much ammo to use against you.
That's a big thing, and I think Call of Duty is gonna have a lot to fix. I think with me, if I had changed some things, I can't really narrow it down. It's just, as Call of Duty as a whole, I think I need to really be shown that they are making something to be fun rather than just competitive. Mm-hmm. Which, again, that sounds like me just being, like, I've told that to people before, and they're like, well, get good then, scrub. And I'm like, well, it's not really about that. Sometimes I just want to kick back. So if they make it, like that plays into it too, the incendiary shells, everything like that, make it where If you want to do stuff like that, make it a score streak. Oh shit, you got a care package? Cool. Oh, it's a incendiary shelled shotgun. Cool. Not everybody has a chance to get it, and maybe you don't. Nobody ever selects it as a score streak. But you can get it out of a care package, and maybe someone's running around for a bit with it. And make things fun.
I think it needs to have a really good ranked play system right off the bat. That way, people who want to sweat and everything can just go there right away and start grinding ranked.
Right.
And the people who want to do casual are just going to do pubs right off the bat and just grind that away. I think that's the way to alleviate a lot of people's complaints with the. If you're going to have skill-based matchmaking, you got to have a ranked play system right off the bat. Gunplay is going to be very good. I don't have any issues. I think the gunplay is going to be very good, but some of the attachments might be problematic. So I think they got to figure that out. And it's only an alpha for one of the game modes. They're going to be able to change a ton of stuff between now and the game release. So there's going to be gun buffs and nerfs and attachment changes and all that kind of stuff. So not worried about that small stuff.
Overall, I think I'm pretty excited to see how this Call of Duty goes. I won't buy it on day one. I'm going to wait to see what happens. I've just been burned so many times.
There's supposedly going to be a ton of multiplayer maps on release too compared to other games.
Like Cold War, yeah.
Cold War had like 8 when it came out. I think this
like
one,
8, yeah.
I think this one is supposed to have like 12, like
nice.
off the rip. So that's kind of getting back to form for how Call of Duty used to be. I think another thing too is you can't reuse or remake old maps. Like, you got to have 12 original good maps. You know, some of them aren't going to be as, there's going to be 1 or 2 bad ones most of the time in a group like that. But overall, you need to make them really creative and fun and good and original. There's things that could be improved upon. We just got to wait and see what they end up doing with that, if they're really taking community feedback into account this year.
Fingers crossed. I think it has potential, so we'll see.
Yeah, I am excited to see what they do with it for sure. Tell us what you guys think if you played the alpha. Tell us what you think, what you would like to see in the game when it does release. If there's any changes you would like to make to it, you think it's okay as it is. We are hopeful. We are skeptical but hopeful, so we'll just leave it at that. So if you guys are enjoying the videos, please leave a like on them, subscribe, check out our other videos. We love to hear your feedback in the comments on the channel. All right, guys, we will see you in the next one.